Good evening. Welcome to IAS Help Desk. Today we bring you a significant development in Indian politics, the passing of the Women Reservation Bill in Parliament. This historical legislation aims to reserve 33% of the seats in Lok Sabha and state assemblies for women. In this video, we will discuss the salient features of the bill, the significance of the bill and the challenges associated with it. Let's just brush up the historical journey of the Women Reservation Bill. Its journey began 27 years ago in 1996 when it was first introduced in Parliament. Multiple administrations attempted to pass it, with the UPA government succeeding in the Raj Sabha in 2010. However, due to lack of political consensus, it remained unimplemented as it was not passed in the Lok Sabha. Different committees and reports continuously highlighted the importance of women reservation in the politics. In 2013, a committee on the status of women recommended a 50% reservation for women in various governmental bodies, highlighting the need for increased women representation in politics. 15. A report on the status of women in India also echoed these sentiments, but no concrete action occurred. And finally, in 2023, the bill has been passed in the Parliament, and the most interesting thing is this was the first bill that has been passed in the new building of the Parliament. Moving to the key details and the rationale behind this groundbreaking bill. First, the Women Reservation Bill, officially known as the 128 Amendment Bill, introduces several provisions. First is, it reserves one-third of the seats in Lok Sabha, state legislative assemblies and legislative assemblies of the Delhi for women. This reservation applies to scheduled caste, scheduled tribe. Secondly, the implementation of this reservation will commence after the census conducted following the bill's amendment is published. The delimitation of the constituencies will be carried out to ensure proper representation of women, and the reservation will be valid for 15 years. So, in this, it has proposed two conditions for the implementation of the bill. First is, the implementation will occur after the Delimitation Commission gives its report and after the delimitation of the constituencies based on the new census. And secondly, the reservation will be valid for 15 years only, and if needed, then it will be continued beyond that. So before moving to this, let's understand what is delimitation. Delimitation Commission is a statutory body that is formed according to the Delimitation Commission Act, and it redraw the boundaries of each assembly and Lok Sabha seat. In the Lok Sabha election or the state legislative assembly election, हर constituency में से एक सीट होती है और एक सीट के लिए इलेक्शन होता है. सो द सीट का एरिया कितना होगा, मीन्स उसकी कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी का एरिया कितना होगा, दैट इज़ डिसाइडेड बाय द डिलिमिटेशन कमीशन, एंड प्रेजेंटली इट इज़ अकॉर्डिंग टू द 2001 census. 2011 census have not been taken for the delimitation of the constituencies, and due to corona the census in 2021 has been delayed, and now it will occur after the 2024 elections. So this means that maximum to maximum in the 2029 election of the Lok Sabha, provisions of the Women Reservation Bill will be implemented. That is the main criticism of this bill, which we'll discuss later in detail. To the third point, the seats reserved for women will be rotated after each delimitation. That means if one constituency is reserved for women, then in the next report of the Delimitation Commission, that constituency will not be reserved for the women and it will be moved to the other constituency. So I hope these three salient features of the bill are been cleared. Now moving to the significance of the bill, means why this bill is important for India and what will be its implications. So before understanding is, let's understand the concept of positive discrimination. In our constitution, the concept of positive discrimination has been given, in which the people who have faced oppression and suppression and discrimination either due to color, caste, race or sex have been exploited since past time, and they were so underprivileged that they lost all financial authority and were forced to live a life of poverty for generations after generation. So the Constituent Assembly dreamt of a society in which all people will be equal, irrespective of their color, caste, race or sex, and that's why they have given reservation in the form of either in education or in the job, so that the oppressed people or the people who have faced discrimination since ages can come to the front and can attain a proper socio-economic life. So now moving to the status of women, as we all know that women have faced discrimination since ages, and after the constitution and after the independence they have been given rights in the form of fundamental rights or electoral rights or social rights, but still due to the patriarchal society the condition of the women were low. And after the economic revolution in the form of LPG, the status of women in the economic arena has increased and they have proved their ability in different economic sectors. But when it comes to the political sector, the status of the women was still low. That's why the provision of the Women Reservation Bill have been discussed since past 27 years. This is clear from that currently only 15% of the Lok Sabha members are women, and women constitute only 11% in the Raj Sabha. This in itself shows the low number of women in the Parliament. After the 73rd and 74th Amendment Act, women have been given reservation in the panchayat system, and it has proved to be beneficial for the society. If we compare the Indian global standing in terms of women representation as reported by Inter-Parliamentary Union, countries like Rwanda, South Africa and Bangladesh surpasses India in the number of representation of women. So now after the reservation, women will be able to get representation in the political sector also. Also, increased women representation can close the gender gap and can lead to more gender sensitive legislation, because studies have shown that the women reservation in the panchayats have caused the improvement in the infrastructure, sanitation, water, the areas which were gender sensitive. So that means that if the women are in representation or in the political arena, then the society as a whole will develop and it will lead to social development of the people. It promotes gender equality and it also introduces diverse perspective into policy making, because obviously women constitute 50% of the Indian population, and the perspective of 50% of the women is needed in every policy making. So it also empowers some women to participate in politics and serves as a catalyst for broader social change. This can be proved that a study by the Harvard Kennedy School in 2010 demonstrated that increased female representation in village councils resulted in higher female engagement and greater responsiveness to critical issues. Further, research shows countries having higher proportion of women in national parliaments are more likely to enact gender sensitive laws. So this shows that if the women have become part of the political scenario, then it can bring a broader picture to the policy making. Women in politics can serve as a role model for other women and girls, encouraging them to pursue careers in politics and leadership positions. Empower the women by giving them their voice and a platform to share their ideas. So it will bring a positive societal changes in attitude towards gender equality. So the women reservation in the parliament and the state legislative assembly will help in address the imbalance in the society and will provide fairer opportunity to participants in decision making processes. Despite its significance, the bill faces, or the first is the condition as discussed above, that is related to the delimitation report by the Delimitation Commission after the census. This will delay the effective implementation of the women reservation provisions till 2029. Secondly, the determination of reserved seats is not specified in the bill, means how many seats will be reserved, that will be that requires a separate law, and then the government have the say in that. Thirdly, the provision of rotation of reserved seats may reduce the incentives for MPs to work for their constituencies. because if a lady is working in the present constituencies and she knows that in the next election she will have to run from the other constituencies, then obviously might be she will not work full-heartedly in that constituencies. The bill does not extend to the Raj Sabha and State Legislative Council. Most important according to the experts, that it does not provide quota to the OBC women as recommended by the Geeta Mukherjee committee. So overall the bill is important, it is significant for the society as a whole, but the few lacunas in the bill which are not still clear and need a separate law and the detailed provisions by the government has caused the criticism of the bill. And finally, to ensure effective implementation, independent monitoring system, awareness program, policies addressing gender-based violence and electoral reforms are needed, because these bills requires vast awareness among the women, mainly in the backward areas, so that they can come out and utilize the reservation given by the bill for the betterment of the society. So in conclusion, I can say that Women Reservation Bill marks a significant step toward gender equality and empowerment in Indian politics, and it opens doors for women to take their rightful place in shaping the nation's future. Thank you for joining us in discussing this historical development of passage of Women Reservation Bill. For any query, you can write us at info@ishelpdesk.in, or you can also WhatsApp at 85860 55783. Thank you.